to give his presentation. Thank you.
Namaskara. Nanu Dr. K.P. Ramesh. I'm working as a principal scientist and working in the area of indigenous cattle improvement, genomics, spermatogenesis, and other related areas, particularly proteomics of milk also I'm working. But today I will be talking on indigenous cattle related aspect. See, we are #1 cattle owners in the world. We have got 12.85% of the cattle of the world, and 190.9 million cattle are there. Crossbirds, even though most of you may be thinking crossbirds are contributing maximum, it is not true. Only 39.7% million cattle are crossbred cattle, indigenous cattle are 151. Even today, 53% of the milk produced in India are coming from the buffaloes. That is the most important thing I want to tell you. Indigenous cattle accounts for recorded breeds, 11% only, 70% are nondescript breeds, but they are also indigenous and exotic. Main difference is, in case of indigenous cattle, Brahman cattle, Americans or any Westerners, they call as indigenous cattle. That is Bos indicus cattle as Brahman cattle. The main difference you can see is hump. The main hump will be there, dewlap, which all these things are related with heat tolerance. These are the areas where sweat glands are concentrated. In our cows, the number of sweat glands are almost 2 times, and the size of the sweat gland is also almost 2.5 to 3 times. That is the reason Tharparkar cow can sustain heat of 50 or 52 degrees in Thar desert. Our cows like to be in sunshine. That is the reason our cow's milk has got vitamin D, more vitamin D. Bone, osteoporosis, all these problems our Hitesh Janiji told will be less if you consume indigenous milk. Why it is so? Because these animals like sunshine. Through the sunshine, vitamin D production will also be more. Similarly, each of the organ of our indigenous cows is made for sustaining in tropical environment. We are all living in the tropical environment. We cannot change it to temperate, but we have brought animals from temperate climate. These HF animals, that black and white ones, kappu bidupu, if somebody wants in Kannada, are Jersey animals. They are basically meant for temperate climate. That means low climate. When the temperature is low, they have to conserve their energy. You can compare that one as a producer of milk producing factories. It is only input output. Here something else is there. That is the reason our animals try always to like to move around. Once these animals move around, whether it is milk or meat or whatever the product, it will have low cholesterol level, cholesterol reducing property also. How it is responsible biochemically, I will be telling little later. We have got various breeds of cattle, 39 recognized breeds of cattle. I'm sorry, the photographs are not shown in here properly because of some problem with the audio visual aid. It is not because of the PowerPoint problem. You see, if you see the number of cattle, when we got independence, how many cattle are there? Today we have got, for every 1,000 individuals, we have got only 17 cows. Similarly, the milk production trend in population, the crossbred population is increasing slightly, but indigenous cattle population 189.4 to 151.2 million, it is coming down. Similarly, it is not uniformly distributed. Northern India, 34% of the cattle are there. South India, only 21%. 25% in West India, East India, it is only 12%. Wherever you go, the cold climate is there, beef eaters are very, very high, because the possibility of digesting the beef is also higher, but at the same time, that is the most ineffective way of producing feed for human consumption. If you want to produce 1 kg of beef, you will be spending around 15,500 liters of water. Similarly, grains also, very high quantity of grain we will be using. That is the most ineffective way of producing. If you want to fight against climate change or methane production, all these things, then you have to fight. Basically, first thing is beef production should be reduced. But in our country, what is happening? Pink revolution. In the name of pink revolution, we are increasing more and more beef and sending to other countries. But at the cost of our environment. Environment, if you want to live healthy, happy, then our environment has to be good. For that, beef is one of the most enemy. Indigenous cattle produce 2.36 kgs of milk per day. Our crossbred produce throughout the country average is 7.02. But if the body weight of indigenous cattle is concerned, it is around 200 kgs. Malnad Gidda is there 80 to 120 kgs. Gir, Sahiwal, Tarparkar, they weigh normally around 350 to 400 kgs. Our HF cattle weighs around 700 to 800 kgs. That means 200 to 700. 2.5 times you are feeding them. So they are producing almost same per kg feed, per kg milk production. If you compare, it is one and the same. Which one is profitable? If you want to profitability, and whether you are interested in quantity or quality, that is also most important. Quantity wise also, in the recent work I have published in Indian Dairyman a couple of months back, even Malnad Gidda keeping and HF keeping. If a Malnad Gidda produces 2 kg and if a HF produces 15 kgs, economically, without considering into the quality of the milk or dung, it is same. If you consider the quality of the milk, indigenous cow's milk, I will be telling couple of slides on that. It has got many advantages. Similarly, dung, the type of fungus, it is very good for agricultural purposes, and you must have all seen, some of you at least have seen the type of dung it is giving out. HF cow, it is like a factory, input, output. Grains go inside. So produces dung also, which is watery in nature. The fungal mucosa, whatever the fungus is there, that is not that much health promoting of the soil. But our desi guy, what it eats? It eats grass, paddy straw, ragi straw, which is an agricultural byproduct. If you don't have guy, cow nahi hai to kya ho jayega? Punjab mein last year, what they did was, they started burning the wheat straws, because cutting the straw was very difficult. They used mechanization and cut only the grains, lower portion. They started putting fire. Then what happened? Smoke came. It affected even the airports. Landing of the flights was also difficult. That's the problem. But our cows, they serve not only as a milk producer or dung producer and help in the environmental protection, but also utilize our byproduct, agricultural byproduct, which we cannot eat or any other things cannot eat. If you want to burn it, it will cause environmental pollution. That is the utility of our cows. Similarly, milk production during different decades, 17 million tons we are producing in 1950s. Today, we are producing around 139.5 million tons. I have given record up to 12-13, but 14-15 if you see, that much. It is not come from crossbreds alone. Productivity has increased from both. If you see the productivity increase also, it is indigenous animals also it has increased, buffaloes also increased, crossbreds also. But if you critically analyze the 2012 data, census data, where crossbreds are increasing, it is not in Punjab or Haryana or in Kerala, where the milk production of crossbreds is above 11 kgs in the earlier decades. Now farmers are becoming intelligent in those areas. They are going for our indigenous cattle, Tharparkar, Sahiwal, Gir animals, and more and more people are going for that. But newer areas it is spreading. It is in Assam, Bihar, West Bengal. These areas, crossbred population increases drastically. It is all available in the literature. Where we stand, Karnataka, we are standing in Karnataka, it is 11th place in milk production. If you see the number of breeds available, Rajasthan, highest number of cattle breeds are available. It is dry land. Similarly, more dry land is available in Karnataka. That is the reason the number of breeds also are very, very much related. It is a location specific. If a breed is suitable for Udupi, it may not be suitable for Mysore area. in Karnataka itself, northern Karnataka, we have got heavy breeds which are dual purpose. If you come to southern Karnataka, we have got Amrutmal, Halikar, Kilar. They are like very lean, like him. In northern Karnataka, if you go, you can compare with me. It requires a lot of energy for blowing because black cotton soil, but they cannot work very fast. But in southern Karnataka, it is the red soil. Water retention power is very less. They have to work very fast. That is the reason our Mysore Maharajas and others have developed a breed called as Amrut Mahal. I have written a book, The Warrior Breed of India, Amrut Mahal breed, that was utilized even in the wars. Even in wars, World War II, the journal, Army General has quoted, we have won the war in Afghanistan just because of these Amrut Mahal bulls and bullocks. They have been used for carrying the cannons. Gazette notification is available, and Amrut Mahal cattle was used in Bidanur by Tipu Sultan. He captured Bidanur because of these animals, and Mysore Maharajas used these animals in many wars. To give one typical example, because of lack of time, I don't want to give many. When Hyderabad Nizam's army attacked Mysore kingdom, they were not knowing, because Hyderabad Nizam's army was 7 times than the Mysore Maharaja's army. They cannot attack 1 to 7. So then they decided to send the bulls which are meant for fighting purpose. They tied kerosene dipped or oil dipped cotton to their horns and made them to attack, because they were trained. They cannot, they attack from different directions, they ran away, and Mysore Maharaja was saved. This is the way, and each war when they won, they have left large number of lands for their grazing. Even today, 2,53,000 acres of land is available in 9 districts of Karnataka known as Amrut Mahal Kavals. Even from where I have come, NDRI, this land was used for building National Dairy Research Institute, at that time Imperial Dairy Research Institute. It was made for developing product for supplying British Army the dairy product. They were very much fond of cheese, kova and other things. That land also belonged to Amrut Mahal Kaval. If you have any dairy farm you name in Karnataka, it is because of that Amrut Mahal Kavals. It has got a 500 years of history. If you see each breed, how it is developed, why it is developed, if you analyze, it has got a history behind that to suit that particular area. If you want to preserve them, protect them, it is our duty for the next generation. Yeah, if you bring HF animals, what happens? They are not able to tolerate our heat. In Saudi Arabia, one of my friends from Kerala is working as a veterinary doctor. He is working for the past 11 years. Now it is around 12 years. When Prakash, Dr. Prakash, he was telling me not even a single minute electricity has not gone. They are getting an average of around 22 to 23 kgs of milk per each cow throughout 305 days yield I am average. That kind of environment can we give in Karnataka or India? It is not possible. No state can provide. Even the prosperous state like Gujarat cannot provide. Even if we provide, what happens? Environmental pollution will be much higher and the total loss will be much higher. That is the reason we have to adjust, we have to have animals, human or whatever it may be species, which can survive, perform and produce under the given environment. We cannot think of changing the environment. Under those circumstances, our livestock are very, very important. And these are the breeds of India. Today we have got 39 breeds. I have given different breeds photograph. First one on the left side is the Amrut Mahal. That Gir breed is there. This Ponganur breed, it is only around 80 to 120 kgs, like Malnad Gidda. Today everybody wants this animal. Similarly, Malnad Gidda, I will show you later on these dwarf animals. I was making a study. Hitesh Janiji was telling me about antimicrobial and antiviral substances in milk. Most of you, if somebody is from medical side, Ayurvedic side also, you must have studied biochemistry people. Antimicrobial substances available most prominently used are lactoferrin, lysozyme and immunoglobulins. All three are available in milk. Among that, lactoferrin content in our indigenous cattle is around 6 to 7 times generally. Out of that, these dwarf breeds, particularly Malnad Gidda milk has got 240 micrograms per ml of milk. Lactoferrin is a most used molecule for has antiviral drug. If somebody is suffering from dengue or some other viral disease, we don't have any antiviral treatment. What we give? Supportive therapy. For that, lactoferrin is available in the capsule form. If you want to use instead of capsule, you use milk of these animals, because 240 microgram is quite high. If you use 3 times, it is equivalent to 3 capsules. That is the way our animals are surviving. And you see, mature cattle also has got mature. These are 180 to 120, 80 to 120 kgs on an average body weight. Panganur animals, today people are ready, even those my friends who have come from Bangalore, they are ready to purchase for 1 to 1.5 lakhs. Similarly, Malnad a few years back, not many people were interested. After a lot of literature from my end, mostly my end, because I was responsible for registering this breed, today even 1,000 animals is available, people are ready to purchase. Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra, people are purchasing. Not only that, once they taste that milk, they will not change back. That is my observation. One fellow, if he takes 1 cow, once it dries, definitely he will take 2 cows. And mostly the industrialists, big people are taking. That is one way, it is a good sign. But at the same time, our farmers also should show the most interest in developing and preserving these breeds. And these breeds also, Indian breeds, Gir or Kankraj. Anybody from Rajasthan, that area also, Kankraj milk. Today, one Srinivas Fawadi from Andhra Pradesh, he is my good friend of mine. We were thinking how to make available the A2 milk. We are all talking A2 milk. But only thing is, everybody wants A2 milk, from where to give. We were thinking what best can be done. Today, because of Srinivas Reddy's efforts and my guidance, I am only behind the scene person. I suggested Patmela, let him contact, and Prabhat Dairy, because my degree is from, I am working in NDRI, dairy background. 1 lakh liters of milk is brought from there to Patmela, to Maharashtra. Prabhat Dairy is processing, he is selling in 200 ml of milk, sachet milk. That is UHT processed, ultra high temperature processed. Around 28 to 30% loss will be there in some of the nutrients, not all nutrients. This lactoferrin is around 28% loss. Even then it is around 5 times higher than the other cattle milk. So most of the Ayurvedic doctors, at least I get around 5 to 6 calls, can we use this UHT milk? That is the way we are getting, and a lot of encouragement is there. We have to improve the availability of indigenous milk. And this is the concentration of indigenous cattle. Wherever dry land is there, that area more and more. Because why it is happening? Because these animals can sustain without water and feed for longer duration. Crossbreds or HF animals, if you don't feed for few days, then they will never conceive, because their basal metabolic rate is very high. Basal metabolic rate is the one, below that if it is not, if the basal BMR level is not met, then reproductive organs will become ineffective. That is the reason drought, whenever drought comes, these animals which are having very high BMR, they will mostly end up in slaughterhouse, because after the drought also they will not conceive. But these indigenous animals, our Deshi guy, what happens is their BMR level is very high, without feed also, water also for many days, they will be able to maintain the minimum level required. Once the rain comes, for some fodder comes, they will conceive and give the calf. These are the milch breeds of India: Sahiwal, Gir, Rati, Tarparkar, Red Sindhi. Many farmers from Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh are also bringing these animals from Maharashtra, Gujarat, Rajasthan. Few days back, I also accompanied one of my friends to bring 26 Gir animals. Similarly, Sahiwal from Punjab also, they are performing well. But only thing is management level required in Karnataka. When you bring, it requires very high level of management as compared to Amrutmala or Hallikar or Malad Gida. Because I will tell you, basically, these animals are from normally from flat area. If you go to Haryana, Punjab and all, wheat cultivation, they feed based on wheat straws. In our areas, we feed based on paddy straw, basically paddy straw and fodder. And ups and downs are also very high. That is the reason most of the minerals are going into the sea and other areas. Mineral deficiency is very high. Whenever we bring these animals to this area, we always advise you feed higher concentration of mineral mixture. These are the breeds. I don't want to go into the details. You can see this is both are semen producing bulls. Comparison with my height, you can see another one. That one is a crossbred. One side one is a crossbred bull which weighs around 800 kgs. This one weighs 180 kgs. Both are producing semen. Its mother has given 5 kgs of milk per day. Malnad Gidda bull, and another its crossbred bull's mother produces 28 kgs. That means around 5.5, body weight also is almost similar. And special characteristics, I don't want to go into the detail because of time constraint, but our indigenous cattle are able to survive and perform even under stressful conditions. For example, humidity very high, they are able to survive. Wherever humidity is high, up and downs are more, we have got dwarf breeds. Low input regions because of BMR and unique reproductive efficiency. Many of the indigenous cattle, they produce 20 cows in their lifetime. There is one cow in Sagar which has produced 23 cows. And that owner today, he has come here, he was asking me, can I come? He has come for a medical purpose. Since I am here, he came. That cow's owner was not willing to get more cows because already it has given 21 cows. He was keeping it separately because it doesn't have any dentition. In spite of that, this year it has produced a calf. In Bangalore, Doordarshan, it was projected 2 to 3 times whenever I gave a lecture on this indigenous cattle I showed. But crossbreed's average, world average is 2.9 cows in their lifetime. In India, it is around 4 to 4.5. After that, what we should do, that is a question mark. In Western world, what happens is after 2.9, it goes for slaughter, it is packed nicely and sold it in packets. But in our country, is it possible or feasible? No. Under those circumstances, we have to lean back on our indigenous cattle. And outstanding mothering ability, because mothering ability is very good, it takes care of its calf. In case of HF, it is like a factory, it will be having udder pain. So somebody comes and milks, that is all it wants, so that its pain is relieved. Similarly, ability to self-preserve, I don't want to go into the details. Metabolic efficiency, another aspect, very, very important. We all talk about climate change. Under those, methane production from bovines, ruminants, is one of the causes. It will be more if we are feeding grains. What happens, more grain means for producing grain, we have to use energy again. Similarly, byproduct also, if you are not utilizing, then it causes another problem, burning and all. Metabolic efficiency, that means it takes feed more and more times. Instead of 1 or 2 times, crossbreds you can give 2 times. But our indigenous cattle takes more times feed. That is the reason they don't produce more energy. Slowly, they will be able to digest it. Heat and insect resistance also very high. Insect, in our tropical climatic country, insects are, many types of insects are there. They will sit on the body. That is the reason the last coccygeal vertebra in case of indigenous cattle is rudimentary. It is not developed well. That is the reason its tail can act as a repellent. It can move anywhere. But in case of crossbreds, it is not required. I was working in Arunachal Pradesh Yak Institute in Dirang. We brought few yaks from at around 8 to 9,000 feet altitude to 5,500 feet altitude in Dirang. Within 1 week, their whole body was covered with ticks. Not even a single space was left out. But instead of treating is of no use. We moved back to the 10,000 feet altitude where the farm was there. Nothing was there. Ticks were not at all there. That means environment is the most important thing. Where they can survive, there only we have to rear those animals. I am the one, and we tried for Indian Army also. One battalion we thought of developing yak battalion, because when the Chinese are using yak, why not for Indian Army? That was my intention. We had one pilot study afterwards. Eastern Battalion was formed also, because we use mules. In India, we use mules for carrying kerosene, food items and all. But yaks are much better because mules suffer from respiratory problems. One mule's producing, Indian Army spends around 5 to 6 lakhs. But after one winter, normally many of them, half of them die. But yaks can survive. Similarly, our indigenous cattle, whichever the breeds, wherever they are there, they have got unique characteristics. That is the reason they can survive. Even skin, sweat glands, everything is unique. For example, in case of heavy rainfall area like Udupi, rainfall will be there, they have to go for grazing. Water droplets will be there on their body. That is the reason the muscle below the skin, that is known as pernicious muscle. Anatomy, if one of you remember, pernicious muscle is very well developed in our indigenous cattle. That is the reason they can twitch their body. That is the reason water comes out. That is not required in case of a cattle which is reared in case of temperate climate, cold climate. That is the reason it is not developed in HF and Jersey cattle. Now, this is a cattle which was taken in Ganganagar district. Around 52 degrees was there. That was the highest temperature. Here you can see the sweating, just like we sweat. Animal was sweating. It was under the tree, but sunlight was falling on the day time. It was around 1:30 p.m. I have taken this photograph. But HF animals, if you make it to tie there, it will suffer from many diseases. It will start panting. Around 30 to 40% milk yield goes down by evening itself. It will never conceive. But our animals, that is the reason they can survive this environment because of sweat glands, presence of sweat glands. And these are the breeds which can survive above 40 degrees temperature. I have made the list, and I don't want to go into the detail. I will come to the, now I told the animal part, what they are giving for the human beings. That is the next part I want to give. I have divided that way, that few points I will give from the animal point, welfare point of view, animal benefit, human benefit. Now coming to the human. The Hitesh Janiji told about casein typing. A1 and A2 milk, what we have learned, A1 milk is produced by mostly HF and Jersey, some of the animals. Not all animals are giving A1 milk only. But all our indigenous cattle, buffaloes, goat, donkey, whichever is there from tropical country, all produce A2 milk. The difference between A1 and A2 milk, from biochemical point of view, it is only at 67th position. Casein molecule is a 209 amino acid molecule. If you think like this big, at 67th position, in case of A1 milk, it is histidine. In A2 milk, it is proline. If you think bonding like proline is there, A2 milk, it is like this. Histidine is there, it is just attached. Our body, our pH of the stomach is acidic, and hydrochloric acid is there for digestion. In our intestine and during the digestion, A1 milk gets separated at 59th and 67th position. That is the reason BCM7 molecule is produced, beta-casomorphin 7. That is the most dangerous molecule. In A2 milk, it continues as a 209 amino acid molecule. But in case of A1 milk, it continues as BCM7. That for a normal individual like me and you, as long as we are healthy, it is not going to cause any problem. Recently, in Australia also, one publication has come in human being. But in case of small child, or those in the old age, or those who are suffered from certain disease, they are coming out of the disease. In them, what happens when the gastric mucosa is damaged, then this BCM7 molecule enters into the bloodstream, it goes to the brain, blood-brain barrier, and it acts like a morphine. That is the reason in children, instead of, after taking milk, instead of
थोड़ा इंटरप्ट कर रहा हूँ, डॉक्टर BM रेड्डी जी का परिचय करेंगे, पूज्य स्वामी जी नीचे बाद में